I wanna. Hey, what's going on, Freedomers? Incite a understanding that I'm learning on my journey on entrepreneurship and as like part-time psychologist, I guess. That I understand that I want you to understand as a millennial and even as an adult. You should not tolerate toxic parents in any form. And that means that, and I say that because from my personal experience, not philosophy, not just from the books I read, from the book I read, not just but from my intuitive understanding, my emotional understanding, my emotional experience, my financial experience, my spiritual experience, etc., etc. I had to grow into the wisdom of how your parents treat you, you accept in every area of your life, or you exude it in another area with other people. That they don't control your story, so you can change your emotional understanding, your emotional wisdom, especially nowadays where you just click YouTube and type in how to do the opposite behavior and do it. But for me, for instance, like the beard that I have, my mother told me that I couldn't, they couldn't, I'm gonna start with this quote after I say this. She said I couldn't do it. I'll never forget, I was at my grandfather's wedding, my grandfather's funeral, excuse me. And she said, same for our men. She told me this on multiple chords, but same for our men can't grow this beard and blah, blah, blah. And that statement sticks out to me the most. And almost 3 years later, my beard is fully grown. She was even at a party. She said, "Yo, why doesn't their brothers have facial hair and he does?" She said, "Oh, it's from my side of the family." She didn't give me any credit, any of that. She said it's from her side of the family, right? But one of the reasons why you shouldn't accept your toxic parents' behavior in any way, shape, or form, because one, they are people, meaning they're human, despite their title, they follow human nature, and two, you take it in every other area of your life. When I was at a job at Target in Brooklyn, Flatbush, Brooklyn, on Junction, my cancer, forgot her name, but my cancer boss said that I'm a punk because I just do what people say. Usually because I'm very introverted, so I just mind my business and I go about my life. Especially like I'm not gonna say I'm not non-confrontational. I can be passive in the sense of saying if I don't need to, I don't do it. If I don't need to be aggressive, like if I don't need to, I don't do it. It's not necessary. If I don't need to express that emotion, I don't do it because it's like if I gotta get confrontational with you, I will. But I really do what my father says when he says leave that as the last resort. I don't get confrontational if I don't have to. And when I do get confrontational, I will come at you, if not from the physical, from the spirit. I will fuck your shit up. But I don't come as violent if I don't have to. So being a person who hates working for other people, and I say a job, not working for other people, is in service, but as in I hate working for a job. I had this job at Target. She said I was very passive, and I was a punk. And she told my father this, I guess on many accords when I was not there, and he told me this. We told him, why are you so passive? Why are you so docile? And I told him that I learned it here. I learned it especially from my mother, where she felt it was okay, even if she was right, to call me outside my name and demean me. And I had to accept it because she was my mother. And whenever I told her about it, she did it again and felt it was okay. Partially because she's a Taurus and because she's black. So we come from that toxic upbringing. So a lot of our parenting come from the slave master, not from our elders, from our wise elders. I mean from our slave masters, because that's all we really remember. But I had to come into the understanding that you gotta cut your toxic parents off, because I got that behavior from home, where even my brothers felt it was okay to demean me, because my mother, and I told her this, because psychologically it's the truth. When your mother feels it's okay and she teaches your brothers it's okay, and my grandparents used to say, oh, you're the oldest brother, you have to tell them who's boss. But if your mother emasculates you, and then she tells her brother, and then she tells her sons, it's okay to emasculate him too, through her example, because kids don't learn through what you say, kids learn through what you do. So if they seen an example of you emasculating me in front of them and saying that he's a nobody, they will treat me the same way, because they do what they see. They don't do what you tell them to do. And often my mother would say, I can't tell, like, I can tell them as many times as I want to, but if you don't enforce it, they won't. So I got to a point where I was trained, and I was kind of like emasculated so much where I didn't care to earn their respect anymore. Because I respect is a huge thing, especially as a man for me. Especially my mood, emotionally, I'm a Capricorn, so respect is huge for me. So I don't give a fuck if you like me. If you don't respect me, I don't fuck with you on no level, right? And I had to grow into this understanding of one reason you can't accept your toxic parents, because you got to cut that behavior out of your life. Because it's like money. Let's say money. If you allow a debit expense to keep coming out your account and you're not using it, you're allowing and let's say one day that was your last, let's say the expense was $35 in your account, and you needed that money. You allowed yourself to be abused, and that money was withdrawn, and now you have nothing. And that transfers over into other transactions where you just allow your money to be taken and taken, and you're not using it because of this one transaction. Instead of saying, yo, I'm done with this, I'm not using it, and then cut it off. So it's the same thing with your parenting. It would be with your parents. If they are abusing you, or you're allowing, because remember I already said that example, because you have to allow it. I know at one point, even though my mother and my father kind of gave me leverage to say, oh, you need to talk to her, but my mother felt so arrogant in the fact that it was okay, because I had to learn, when you do it over and over and over, it's not like, something you say sorry about, something we need to talk about. It was something you did something about. And because there was nothing being done about it, I was tired of explaining myself. And why do I notice this? Because when I did it to my ex-best friend, love her dearly, even though our friendship fell apart, the only reason why she felt merciful with me was because she knew where I got it from. Let me say it again. The only reason why she felt merciful with me is because I got it from somewhere else. And also, she even went to the furthest extent to say, if you go to somebody else and they see you as a child, and it's all this other stuff, and they see you as this aggressive, dominant, somewhat abusive person, you got to explain to them, if you don't change it, that behavior, where you learned it from. And every time I did this to her, it was never really okay. She just accepted it as who I was after a while, because it was how my conditioning. So I will leave with this statement. Parents don't do the best that they can. They do to the best of their conditioning. They don't do the best that they can. They do to the best of their mental conditioning, and their emotional conditioning, and their spiritual conditioning.